Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. This is Hemalata from Purnavidya Ashram. Today's session is the continuation of key elements of a democratic government. In the last session, we had discussed about a story about apartheid system which was there in South Africa. Then we studied about participation of people in a democratic government. In today's session, we will study about need to resolve conflict and equality and justice. In Maya's story, we saw that the students were protesting against the whites for forcing Afrikaans language which was used by the whites to study in the school. During the protest, a conflict, a violence happened. So, during protest, conflicts can often lead to violence and death because one group decides that it's all right to use force to prevent the other group from protesting. During conflicts, the one group which have the maximum power, they will use the force to stop the other group from protesting. Conflicts occur when people of different cultures, religions, regions, or economic backgrounds do not get along with each other, or when someone among them feel they are being discriminated against. When the conflict will occur when people were not treated equally and discriminated by the people who are powerful than them. People may use violent means to settle their differences. This leads to fear and tension among others living in an area. When two groups of people are fighting with each other, during these kind of violence actions, the people who are living around that area will have some sort of fear if whether they are attacked during these kind of actions. So the government is responsible for helping to resolve these kind of conflicts. Now we will read about some of the conflicts in our society and the role of government in resolving them. How the conflicts in India is being resolved? We have our constitution. The Indian constitution lays down the basic rules or laws that have to be followed by everyone. These laws are for both the government and the people. So during conflicts and differences, these laws have to be followed to resolve, and we will read about these laws in later chapters. Some of the conflicts like religious processions and celebrations can sometimes lead to conflicts. For example, the route a procession takes may lead to a conflict. The government, particularly the police, play an important role in getting representatives of concerned communities to meet and try to arrive at a solution. So during any kind of religious processions or during celebrations, the police will play the major role. What they will do? They will first organize meetings with the leader of those particular community, and they will try to solve all the problems between them. During these meetings, police will arrive to a solution and they will be prepared to solve any kind of problem. At times, there is fear that violence may erupt with people throwing stones or trying to disrupt the procession. Hence, The police is responsible for ensuring that violence does not take place. So during these kind of religious processions or celebrations, the police will be well prepared and equipped to control the people during if any violence happens. There are other conflicts in our society, like rivers too can become a source of conflict between states. A river may begin in one place, flow through another, and end in a third. So, the sharing of river water between different places that the river goes through is becoming an issue of conflict. For example, you may have heard about the Kaveri water dispute between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. The water stored in Krishnasagar Dam in Karnataka is used for irrigating a number of districts and for meeting the needs of city of Bangalore. The water stored in Mettur Dam in Tamil Nadu is used for crops grown in the delta region of that state. In both the states, river water is the basic source of water resource. A conflict arises because both the dams are on the same river. The downstream dam in Tamil Nadu can only be filled up if water is released from the upstream one located in Karnataka. So Tamil Nadu will get water only if the water was released from Karnataka for irrigation. The river water have to be shared by both the states. Therefore, both states can't get as much water as they need for people in their states. This leads to conflict. The central government has to step in and see that a fair distribution is worked out for both states. Our constitution gives power to the central government to look into the conflicts between any states. How the central government gave solution to this problem? They had advised the states to go to Supreme Court. So the case between these two states was in Supreme Court. Lot of verdicts were given by Supreme Court for the equal sharing of water. This is the picture of Kaveri. Quite flows Kaveri despite being at the center of heated conflict between two states for the last 30 years. This picture was given in our book. The conflict which was there between two states lasted for 30 years. It is the duty of the central government to solve any dispute or conflict between the states. It had to resolve the conflict. The next topic is equality and justice. One of the key ideas of a democratic government is its commitment to equality and justice. Equality and justice are inseparable. These are the main key ideas for a successful democratic government. The earlier practice of untouchability is now banned by law. This group of people were denied education, transport, or medical facilities, and even the chance to offer prayers. These kind of cruel activities happened during earlier days, but later on our government had took lot of initiatives to stop these kind of practices. This untouchability was abolished, banned by our constitution. Dr. Ambedkar, we had already studied about him in our previous chapter, and many other leaders like him realized that such practices must not continue and that justice can only be achieved when people are treated equally. Lot of leaders had took initiative to ban these kind of practices. They thought that it can be only achieved by creating the laws and when the people started to treat each other equally. The government also recognizes this and makes special provisions for groups within society that are unequal. It is necessary for the government to achieve these kind of abolition of practices in society. So the government have to make special provisions for the groups of people who are treated unequally. To protect them, the government creates unequal laws by giving special powers or provisions to protect them. For instance, in our society, there is a general tendency to value and care for the boy child more than the girl child. This means that society does not value the girl and boy child equally, and this is unjust. In this context, the government steps in to promote justice by providing special provisions that can enable girls to overcome the injustice that they are subjected to. So generally, girl child were treated lesser than the boy child. The boy child got more importance than the girl child. So, to make the girl child to be treated equally, the government had took a lot of steps to make the girl child to be treated equally in the society. Lot of special actions were took by the government for girl child. So lot of schemes were brought up by the government to help the girl child. To promote the justice, the government had gave lot of special provisions to enable the girls to overcome the lot of injustice which were practiced against them in the society. Thus, it is possible that fees for girls might be waived or lowered in government schools or colleges. For example, government had lowered the fees of the girl child so that the parents will be willing to educate their girl children to schools and colleges. This action of government promoted the increase of literacy of girl children. To achieve the equality and justice, sometimes government have to take initiatives and give special provisions for some group of people in an unequal way. That is, these kind of special provisions will not be given for both the people. So it will promote only one group of people which is actually unequal. But logically it will help the people who are suffering due to these kind of actions. So finally we can achieve the equality among the people. In this chapter, we had studied about the participation of the people in the government and how the people are showing their interest according to different needs and how they are showing their opposition against any action of the government and what is the duty of the government to resolving any kind of conflict, and we also saw about some examples of conflict which happened in India and the equality and justice which were followed by the government to help the needy people. Thank you.